proof of work is a thing of the past? Obviously not. With most blockchains doing proof of stake nowadays, Casper is on the pathways of Bitcoin when looking at consensus mechanisms. But with a twist, as it's not really a blockchain, but rather a block DAG. You'll see what's up with that in a moment. We are talking about a project, and now bear with me, that could dethrone some of the top 5 coins in the long term. I will explain to you all the bells and whistles of Casper and its technology, so you will understand everything without any prior knowledge. And if you know Casper already, I'm pretty sure you will still learn a lot. And of course there will be tokenomics and price predictions as well. Speaking of which, my approach for the long-term price prediction you won't find in any other video on social media. Guys, I'm not trying to just hype you up. As always here on this channel, you will get the most important information possible. Coming up in this episode of Phil Prince, your one and only stop for crypto, finance and trading. With me, you will gain the skill set and the mindset to crush the markets. Before we start, I have some great news. The first one is we have surpassed 300 subscribers, and this is exactly 1 month after my first video at the time of recording. Thanks to all of you, together we will build the greatest crypto community out there. We are heading for 1,000 subscribers next. If you have friends who are into crypto or who are not into crypto yet, send them my videos so we can onboard them into the crypto space. There are great things to come, trust me. The second great news is that SAI is pumping just as we analyzed it. We looked for a breakout out of this redistribution zone and from the EMA 200 to the all-time highs, which we exactly got. Now let's see if we have momentum left to get in our target range. We might also consolidate for some time here, as I have drawn out here in my video about SAI. If you have not seen it yet, this is my full review and price prediction about SAI, and here I talked about the most important ecosystem picks for SAI. Also, if you don't know yet, I'm using the community feature to update you on short-term price developments. So definitely keep an eye on this. Also, in my video about Pyth Network, I told you we could look out for price targets of $54 and $69, which we perfectly hit. It's actually crazy how perfect. I mean, look at this. And at the time of recording of my video about Pyth, we were at $37. So this means a 85% gain, not too shabby. Now finally for Casper. This is basically a dream project. It's a breeze to review. And in the course of this video, you will see if it's also a dream to invest in. The first thing we want to look at is the goal or the vision of Casper. And this is where it becomes very, very interesting already. Casper wants to become a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. Sounds familiar? Well, that's because it's the title of the Bitcoin white paper. The thing is, Bitcoin turned out to be a store of value, basically digital gold, and not electronic cash. And this gap is what Casper wants to fill out by becoming digital silver. And Casper actually means silver or money in Aramaic. In the history of mankind, silver has always been more circulative than gold. So gold has always been something to store value and silver to exchange value. Most probably, therefore, the British pound is also called pound sterling because of the sterling silver. Another main goal of Casper is to solve the so-called blockchain trilemma. This term was coined by nobody else than Ethereum co-founder Vitalik Buterin himself. And it's actually one of the largest hurdles for crypto to achieve mass adoption. The blockchain trilemma states that no project is able to achieve perfect levels of decentralization, security, and scalability at the same time. So generally this means that only 2 of those factors can be achieved. And let me tell you, for many projects, the main effort is to solve this trilemma. And there's different ways to try this. One is delegated proof of stake, for example. Another approach are scaling solutions like rollups, where a layer 2 solution takes load of the layer 1 for validating transactions. There are many more approaches like sharding, but none of them is a perfect accepted solution yet. And this brings us right to the technology of Casper. As I mentioned in the intro, it uses proof of work, so just like Bitcoin. And therefore it is kind of an outlier because no new project is using proof of work. They all use proof of stake as it's deemed more efficient and also way faster and more scalable. Casper did something completely different. Instead of changing the consensus mechanism, they changed the structural concept of blockchain. Instead, Casper uses a block DAG, which stands for Directed Acyclic Graph, and actually reminds me of my first university classes in computer science. A graph in general is a pretty basic concept and just means that we have some nodes connected by some edges. All of you know the navigation feature in Google Maps. If you want to go from point A to B, for Google Maps, all street corners will be nodes and all the streets will be edges. All of the edges will have a weight assigned, which is the kilometer distance of the street. And then it will go through every possible combination of edges, meaning the paths from node A to B, and put out the shortest distance for you. And with a directed acyclic graph, a DAG, the only difference is that the edges have a direction, so you can't go both ways, and there are no cycles or no loops allowed. You're welcome, now you don't have to study computer science. This allows for a more complex structure, as a blockchain just has a directed edge from block to block. To manage the block DAG, Casper employs the Ghost DAG protocol, which allows blocks to be created in parallel to coexist and be ordered in consensus. Therefore, Ghost DAG is a specific proof-of-work consensus mechanism. And this is what it looks like in real time. As you can see, in some instances we have multiple blocks created in parallel, and in some instances we just have one block. So for some parts, it just looks like a normal blockchain, and for some other parts, it looks like a complex DAG. The Ghost DAG then decides which of the parallel blocks is valid and marks them with these blue arrows. And that's the immense improvement over a normal proof-of-work blockchain, like Bitcoin is. And it also solves its biggest bottleneck, which is scalability, without missing out on security. This means we have a checkmark for 2 of the 3 parts of the blockchain trilemma, and this is scalability and security. So let's see for decentralization. Well, there's good news. The fast block time decreases the variance of mining income and therefore decreases the incentive to join a mining pool, which means it's basically better to be a solo miner, which in turn means more mining entities and more decentralization. Jackpot. Of course, this will have to prove itself over time, especially under heavy load. And then we will see if Casper has really managed to solve the blockchain trilemma for good. One more thing about the block time. At the moment, it is 1 block per second. For comparison, Bitcoin does 1 block in about 10 minutes and Ethereum does 1 block per 15 seconds. But Casper is not done yet. They plan to upgrade to 10 blocks a second and then long term to 100 blocks per second. But it's already the fastest proof-of-work blockchain there is. This means Casper can scale even more, and because of the block DAG structure and the Ghost DAG consensus mechanism, this will stay secure as it changes nothing about the procedure, and also the scalability. The faster block time will then increase decentralization even further, as then there is even less incentive to join a mining pool. Simple yet effective. It's an ingenious solution basically. So now you know about the most important parts of the Casper technology. Let's have a look at the super strong team that made all of this possible. The founder of Casper is Dr. Jonathan Sompolinsky. Actually, he and his PhD advisor, Professor Aviv Zohar, invented the Ghost DAG protocol and then wanted to create something to implement it. And actually their Ghost DAG protocol is famous for being cited in the Ethereum white paper as a design goal in 2013. On top of that, he is a postdoc at Harvard. All of the other team members are basically also software developers or cryptographers, which also explains why the website looks like this. Don't get me wrong, it doesn't look bad, but this is nothing a UI or UX designer has done. And that basically emphasizes its roots, and I kind of like it. Alright, now for tokenomics. The first thing is, it has a maximum supply of 28.7 billion Casper coins, just like Bitcoin has a max cap at 21 million Bitcoins. Casper is 100% decentralized, open source, and community managed. With its launch in November 2021, there was no pre-mine, 0 pre-sales, and no coin allocations. None. This is very rare. Just so you understand, no institution, doesn't matter how big they are, no exchange, not even the top 3, got an allocation at launch. Therefore, many exchanges are accumulating, just so you know. Therefore, obviously, there are no token unlocks, and the emission schedule is set in stone. It implements a geometric emission reduction over time, inspired by the 12-note scale of music. Wow, Casper doesn't fail to surprise me. This policy, known as the chromatic phase, decreases block rewards in a manner that aligns with the frequencies of consecutive semitones in a tempered chromatic scale. Yeah, I don't know what this means either. In simpler terms, Casper halves every year. but at a monthly rate. Casper actually gives us the exact emission schedule with every detail. So we can see it started on November 8th, 2021, and at this very moment we are here, so basically at the end of the second year chromatic phase. Or at the 28th month, we're 22,376,537,406 Casper are already mined. When looking at the emission schedule, this means we are somewhere here, with most of the strong increase being already done. Basically looks very similar to the emission schedule of Bitcoin. At the moment, you can get Casper on KuCoin, Gate.io, Bybit, BitGet, etc. Also, there's rumors that Coinbase and Kraken will list Casper on spot very soon. Kraken actually has already a perpetual contract that can be traded. Now let's have a look at the price chart and some technical analysis. The first thing we can see, man, is this chart beautiful. That's basically what you get when there's zero shady things going on. Also kind of looks like the Bitcoin chart, isn't it? The next crazy thing is, what I've marked for you in this red box is the bear market. Casper launched in the mid of the bear market, but there has been no downtrend whatsoever in the whole bear market. More specifically, it did more than 50x. Show me another coin that did this. For the short-term analysis, I would like to show you a pattern that I found in the chart. If we measure the first touch of the yellow trend line with the FIB extension tool, we can see that at a minimum touch the 4.618. In this case, we actually exceeded it big time, but nevertheless, it proved to be a very important support and resistance zone. In the following examples, it actually proved to be very accurate, as you can see right here, and also in this move right here. And now if we would measure this move right here, then we would get $33 as a short-term to mid-term target, which from current prices would mean a 128% gain. Now for the long-term price prediction, I have thought of another approach that would only work if we would stay in that kind of channel. So if we elongate this channel, and we suspect this bull cycle will end of 2025, this would give us a top range of around this area. So basically from the beginning of November till the end of December. And it's actually a pretty big range from $48, so around $50 to $85. And this would basically mean another 332x to 591x. So I know this is very optimistic and we don't know if we can stay in this channel for that long because there's so many other possibilities we don't know about yet. We could range here for some time and then start to pump again. We could have a big dump first and then go parabolic. And of course we could pump directly, but this is highly unlikely. So in order to evaluate what is likely, let's have a look at the top 5, 6, 7 coins and see where their all-time high market cap would bring us. I will exclude Bitcoin and for the beginning Ethereum as well. Tether is a stable coin, so not comparable. So let's take BNB first. And that would mean a 34x or $4.86, which would be right here. Then let's take Solana. This would bring us around 24x or $3.41, which would be right here. Then let's use XRP. That would be more than 40x or $5.79, which is the gray line on top. Then we will skip, of course, USDC as it's a stable coin as well. And then lastly, take Cardano. And this would mean around a 29 to 30x. And this would be the dark blue line. As you can see, this gives us a pretty concise and I would say likely top range. So basically we're between 24x to around 39x from current prices. So if this holds true with the projected end of the bull cycle, this means we would leave this channel at some point in the future. So if we really mimic Bitcoin's price in the future as well, we could expect some kind of curve and not a linear channel. As you can see here, this is all of Bitcoin's price history that has been recorded. And now if we apply this to the Casper chart, you can see this thick orange curve would actually perfectly align with the end of this bull cycle and the projected likely area of a possible top. Please let me remind you, this is not set in stone. We could still deviate from that, but I'm not gonna lie, this looks very promising. For more high quality altcoin reviews and price predictions, click here and click here if you want to see my latest video. I hope you gained massive value, and if you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe now so you don't miss any of my next videos. As always, this was not financial advice. Please do your own research and due diligence. This was Phil Prince for you. Crush the markets until next time. Goodbye.